we're making pickled jalapeno peppers. Hi everybody, thanks so much for stopping by the homestead. My name is Sarah from Living Traditions Homestead, and this fall and just recently we picked all of the peppers and most everything else from the garden, and now I have all of these jalapenos to figure out what to do with. So I decided to pickle some of them. And the rest of them I will use for salsas in the future. I'll dice them, freeze them, and then when I'm ready to make salsa, I'll bring them out and use them that way. But today I wanted to bring you along as I pickle these jalapeno peppers. Aren't they beautiful? Look at, some of them are red, some of them are green, and they're just gonna make the most beautiful pickled jalapeno peppers. We use jalapeno peppers on the homestead when we make nachos, and I like to also dice them up really small and mix them into my homemade goat cheese. It makes for some amazing spicy pepper goat cheese. And the recipe that I'm going to be using today is in my very, very favorite canning book. It is the Ball Complete Book of Home Preserving 400 delicious and creative recipes for today. I've had this for several years. This is my absolute go-to book for canning, and I highly recommend it. We'll put a link to it down below. So we're going to get started, and let's just get going. Okay, so I'm actually going to can 6 half pints of pickled peppers, pickled jalapeno peppers. It's probably all we're going to use for the next 12 months. I'm not going to overdo it, even though I have a bunch of jalapeno peppers. I think I have enough other things to use these peppers on, so 6 is probably going to be enough. That would be 1 of these jars every other month. Now, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put on some gloves, because cutting these jalapeno peppers, it's going to get the jalapeno, the spiciness all over my hands, and inevitably I'm going to put them on my face or rub my eyes or something like that, and that will be bad news with all of that spicy jalapeno juice. And then I'm going to start off with smashing some garlic cloves. Now, the recipe itself asks for you to basically infuse the garlic in with the vinegar solution, and boil it until you can smell garlic, I guess. But I really like the taste of the garlic in with the peppers. It makes the peppers garlicky, much more garlicky than if you just infuse it with the pickling solution. So that's what I'm going to do today, even though that's not part of the instructions. So I'm just going to smash these, and I'm going to put half of a big clove of garlic in each one of these jars, and then that will make it super tasty. So there's half in each one of those, and I'm just going to do the same with the other 2 garlic cloves. I probably didn't need my gloves on for this part, but better to be cautious. And then I just won't smell like garlic for the rest of the night. Okay, there we go. Last ones. So now, really, I'm just going to start slicing the jalapenos. I'm going to, slice off the stem end. And then I'm going to just slice them in little rounds. And I'm going to fill up all 6 of these jars with these little rounds until they're about a ½ inch from the top. And then I'll stop. So I think I have plenty of peppers for this, so I'm just going to start going. And I really think it's going to be pretty to mix the green jalapenos with some of the red jalapenos. So I'm going to do that too. So I have them all filled up, all 6 of these. Barely used any at all, I just used the ones that were on the table here. But now it's time to get the pickling solution ready and get going on canning these. So you guys, this probably is one of the easiest canning recipes out there. It's very simple. I have all of the peppers in my jars filled up to a ½ inch from the top in my in my saucepan on the oven, I have a vinegar water solution. That's all that's in there. And I've decreased the proportions from what is in my canning book because I'm just not canning the volume that is in this recipe. So I have 4 cups of white vinegar and 1 1/3 cups of water in my saucepan. I'm bringing that to a boil. In the meantime, I'm also heating up my canning pot with hot boiling water, and I'm going to also be getting my lids going too to warm them up. So once all of that is ready, I'll come back and we'll start filling these jars and getting them taken care of. Okay, so we have everything ready to start canning these pickled jalapeno peppers. And I'm just going to start with one of our jars of the peppers and put my little cone in there. And I'm going to fill this up with this pickling solution until it's 1/2 inch from the top. Shouldn't take very much. I think that's about right. And I'm actually going to take this little measurer that I have and poke down in there to get the air bubbles out. Oh, I'm getting attacked by vinegar stuff. And poke this all down and get the air bubbles out. And then we'll also give me a true measurement of where the liquid is. So it looks like I need a little bit more liquid. And I need to press my peppers down a little bit more. So I'm going to top that off with just a little bit more liquid and then give it a measurement to make sure that I am on track for how far away the liquid is and the veggies are from the top. Okay, so that's just about right. That's just about right. I'm going to say that's good enough. Okay? And so with my towel, I'm going to wash off the rim of this jar before putting on the hot lid. I'm going to use my little mechanical deal here to get a hot lid. Put that on top of my jar and then add one of these rings. I'm just going to tighten these rings on here to what they call finger tight. So not super, super tight, just finger tight. Okay? And then I'm going to put this in my canning pot. I had the heat on my canning pot to make sure it got to a boil, and now I'm just turning it off because I don't need it to boil yet until I get everything else in there. So I'm just going to continue this whole process of filling it with the pickling liquid and putting the tops on and that kind of thing and putting them in to the canning pot. And when they're all back in there, I'll come back to you. Well, everything's in the canner now, so I am going to cover it with this lid. And I'm going to wait till it comes to a boil. When it comes to a boil, then I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes. I'm going to let it process for 10 minutes. After that, I'm going to turn off the heat and open up the lid and wait for another 5 minutes. Another 5 minutes. And after that, I can take it out and they'll be all done. Super simple. Well, they are all finished and I am super excited to get them out of the canning pot and see what they look like. Oh, they look awesome. I used some of the green and some of the red. And we can enjoy pickled peppers for the rest of the year. Look at how gorgeous they are. They are just absolutely beautiful. I am so excited to be able to preserve some of the garden vegetables that we raised this year. You know, not only are we pickling them, but I've also dehydrated some to turn them into chipotle peppers. I'm going to be dicing and freezing some to add them to our salsas as I make them over the winter with some of the frozen tomatoes that I have. And so you guys, I'm so happy that you came along for the ride on how to pickle jalapeno peppers. Before you go, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, go ahead and push the subscribe button below. I would surely appreciate that. If you have questions or comments, we love them. Go ahead and use the comment section below. And if you liked this video, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. And until next time, you guys, take care and God bless.